All right, thank you. And under audience participation, even though nothing is listed, we have a very special presentation.
If we may, Your Mayor, I have a couple of staff members here that are only here for one purpose tonight, so they wouldn't have to stay as long if we go ahead and cover this now. As was announced last week, our electric department received a reliable public power provider or RP3 designation by the American Public Power Association for providing reliable and safe electric service. Since we received the plaque late last week, we would like to go ahead and formally present it to the electric department. So if Assistant City Manager of Electric and IT, Jason Newberry, Electric Production Supervisor Travis Horsch, and Electric Distribution Supervisor John Bells would please come forward.
Round of applause. Woo!
The Mayor will present the award. Criteria for the RP3 designation, criteria in 4 disciplines must be met, with the disciplines being reliability, safety, workforce development, and system improvement. We certainly would like to acknowledge the accomplishment of our electric department and all of our staff of the distribution and production department.
Congratulations. Thank you. And there you are. I just want to say that I think, this is so great when we already know how awesome you guys are, that you get outside recognition beyond us, but we just cannot say enough of the confidence and just the pride that we have in the service that you not only provide our city, but to everyone. And just cannot say thank you enough. But it's always nice when somebody else recognizes how great you guys are too. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
You bet. Hugs. You guys are great. You guys are great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you. Yeah, see you guys.
Somewhat related to that topic, I will mention too, last week was actually Public Service Recognition Week. That's apparently the first Sunday in May. So we would like to certainly offer recognition to all of our public servants and our employees for the city.
Who always go above and beyond without even having to be asked a lot. They just do it because it's in their nature. So thank you. All right, next we have our consent agenda. I have a motion to approve.
Madam Mayor, I would like to, I move that we amend the consent, the agenda, not the consent agenda, the agenda to include a work session. Right, I'm sorry, an executive session for the discussion prior to acquisition of real estate.
All right. I have a motion and a second to amend our agenda to have an executive session for discussions prior to acquisition of real estate. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? All right, we will go immediately into executive session at the end of this meeting. All right. Now, do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda?
You didn't, Madam Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Great. It's been moved and seconded that we approve our consent agenda, which does include approval of minutes, appropriations, and all the council correspondence that we've received for most of April and May. Do all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no? Apparently, maybe Jan, you and I are thinking about the storms that are fast approaching, so our minds are not here, not focused. All right, we'll try to focus a little bit more here. All right, we're going to get to our reports of mayor and council. Mr. Letta. Mr. Valentine?
I don't see anybody representing the American Legion out there, so I'm just going to go ahead and inform everybody of the service at Prairie Lawn Cemetery on May 31st at 10 a.m. I hope that we see a pretty good crowd up there. That's all I have to say on that. And I need to ask a question, and I don't really know who to address this to, either Jeremy or the city manager. Why do we not mow the lawn at the hospital at Southern Regional? Why is that not taken care of by the city? They pay $650 every time that thing is mowed.
don't know the history of that, obviously, if that's what's been in place. I mean, it is a city-owned facility, although it's operated by the healthcare authority.
So actually, the person people would have to talk to would be the healthcare authority part.
I would have to review the history. I mean, obviously, it's like the library or the American Legion or rec center. I mean, they are city-owned buildings, but we don't mow the yards there. I mean, they're operated by another, authority or business, so.
Well, I was just curious as to the fact, because they are city-owned buildings, and the question came to me, so I'm just passing it along to you.
There's certainly, as I said, the library, I mean, there's other instances, but I would assume because they are a healthcare authority that they're responsible for the operations of the facility. I mean, the ordinance, simply we lease the facility to them for operating, so.
Have we, just one other question, have we had any more feedback from Mr. Hinman on his task force out there? I mean, has anybody heard anything at all?
The task force has held 2 meetings. As far as I know, the next one was the next one is tomorrow evening. The first meeting was more or less a review of the history, the details. I mean, first, obviously, some of the members of this task force have not been involved. The first meeting was more of a history review. The second meeting, the new CEO was present. They discussed some of the actions they have taken to address, and the future meetings are to discuss, options that may be available.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine. Mr. Wetta does want to say something.
Well, he stirred my, I talked to Mr. Hinman today at Rotary, and he asked me, he's going to meet with the governor. He and Terry Shane are going to go up and give it a shot, and he knows that he's got 2 chances, slim and none, but he's doing everything he can, and they're going to give it a shot to talk to Governor Brownback and see if there's anything that can be done to help us.
I believe there's a full contingency that also includes City Manager Shields as well.
That is a meeting Jessica Lucas arranged. Mr. Hinman, Mr. DeShane, a representative of the county, myself, I believe Economic Development Director Davis is attending. We were just notified of that today.
Was that on the invitation of the governor, or was that something we know?
As my understanding, Ms. Lucas arranged set up that meeting.
Oh, very good. All right, still working for Wellington. We appreciate that. Okay, anything else, guys? How about you, Mr. Butts?
Quick comment. This last week, we had a local citizen who was involved in a softball function out at Warden Park, which some of the guys in the room here know all about this situation. And I'll not bore you by getting into all the details, but seems as though when we have someone who would like to rent or use Warden Park for various functions, it seems like maybe there needs to be a little more coordination between the city and the rec department. I'm not certain I really know all the details about this. I really frankly don't want to know all the details about it. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that I think there was some hard feelings caused, and by the time that the whole thing was over and done with, I have to tell you that I got reports back from the same people who were somewhat upset with the city prior to the week, telling us that they had many, many people attending this who thought that our facilities were especially nice for a city the size of Wellington. In particular, some folks from Enid, which Enid's got to be twice as big as Wellington at least, were raving about the facilities. So I guess there's lots of reasons to be proud of what we have here in town. And I'm just asking the question, and Jeremy, this falls kind of in your ballpark. You were indirectly involved in it, but can we look at both sides of a situation, maybe a little more thoughtful, and maybe sometimes our citizens need to understand just what it is that we do as a city and what your people do to keep the city going. So two-way deal, two-way street, I understand that, but I felt probably should bring it up, especially about the park. We had some people pretty impressed with what we have to offer here in Wellington.
I've spoken to the individual involved. Mr. Jones, I know, spoke to him before the end of last week. Jeremy has been out of town today, yesterday and today, so he's not aware that I've spoken to the individual. We haven't had that conversation. As far as the Worden Park, I mean, obviously there was a breakdown in communication, although there were some additional concerns apparently from the field groundskeeping during the games and so forth. All of that activity is by the rec center. That is not something the city is involved in.
Correct.
But as far as the initial communication about the shade structures, that was certainly the city involved in that with, again, I mean, Mr. Jones is not aware. I've had a further conversation with the individual involved, and we'll discuss that.
To finish up on that, Jeremy, I think you know I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that sometimes I wonder if things could be coordinated a little bit better, which would soothe the tempers a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Mr. Lutz. And how did you and Vince do at the golf tournament, the chain golf tournament? Oh, sorry, another topic.
It's a good time when we did beat somebody.
Okay, good. All right, Mrs. Gordy.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Kenton DeBurr, who is someone I think probably doesn't get affirmed very much. He lives out in my neighborhood, and he has put fences up along his property, and he's decorated them very artistically. And if you should go out and look at them. I have a feeling that he probably did the artwork himself, and it really looks nice. So go out and see it. It's on Edward Street, just kind of west of Circle Drive.
Or on the backside as you go to the mental health center. It's really neat. Yeah.
It's always the backside. I haven't been down the back.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's done the same thing. If we're recognizing people for fixing things up, he deserves a gold star.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Gray. Mrs. Hawley. I have nothing. Mr. Etter?
The only thing I have is, Mr. Valentine, you had said the 30th or 31st on your, I'm assuming you're talking about for the Memorial Day service, you're talking about the 29th, Monday?
Yes.
What did I say?
You said the 31st.
Well, Memorial.
That's okay. I just want to make sure. I thought that. Okay. Yeah. So the 29th.
Right.
It's a great. If nobody's ever seen it before, it is.
Yeah.
It's a great
I was probably looking at this calendar when I said that.
program. But yeah, it's a great program. If you haven't seen it before, there's a lot of people to be, to say thank you for making the cemetery look as good as it does, and the ones that put on the programs.
Thank you, Mr. Etter, and I'd like to piggyback on that and what Mr. Valentine said, that if anybody would like to volunteer to put up the Avenue of Flags, I'm visiting with Andy McIntyre, and her and countless other volunteers make that happen every year, and I believe the flags will be going up on Saturday the 27th. So if you'd like to volunteer, get a hold of Andy McIntyre, or I'm sure either the VFW or the American Legion, and they'll put you in touch with the right people. But if you've never volunteered for that project, Mrs. Hawley, you've done that, haven't you? Put up the flags? Yeah. It truly is one of the most amazing experiences you'll ever have. And it's a really good thing to take kids. Yeah, absolutely.
If you do want to volunteer, just show up 8 a.m. in front of the cemetery.
There you go. Good. I couldn't remember what time, so I actually am interviewing Mrs. McIntyre tomorrow, so it really is a great experience if you can do that. And if you can't help put up, you can always help take down on the 29th. At 1 o'clock? 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Hawley. And then if you're going out to the lake for Memorial Weekend, make sure to get your permits. Jeremy, I'm putting you on the spot, but you and I just had a great conversation about this. So remind everybody what kind of permits they need just real fast.
Well, with the lake being a recreational facility, we do have a recreation permit for any activities out there that are not fishing or simply sightseeing. Picnicking, camping, using the beach area, swimming, playgrounds, all requires a permit, at least a recreation permit. Camping, we have camping permits. The recreation permits can be bought for daily or an annual. It's only $15 for an annual permit. It gets you a sticker for your vehicle and covers everybody in that vehicle when they're out there. Camping is, we can do daily or monthly fees to however many days you want to go.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that everybody's aware that we do require permits out there. We do have speed limits. We have been getting a lot of complaints about folks not obeying the speed limit, which is 20 mile an hour. So we're just trying to keep everybody safe.
Okay, and we have a big and a little store out there
A
too.
local convenience store out
Local
there
convenience
also.
store, but you got to get the permits here. No, you can get them out there too.
You can get permits at City Hall or out at the office at the lake.
Okay. Yep, you can get them both places. Okay, and then congratulations to Devin Robinson for catching a 4-pound big walleye at our big tournament. And the big wiper was caught by Randy Condit. So, how about that? Did any of you guys participate? No? No. Okay. And last but certainly not least, on May 27th, our own Wellington Heat will kick off their season right here in Wellington. So, go Heat. All right. Let's move on to reports of city officials. I don't see anything. Shane, is there anything you need to tell us?
No, ma'am.
Okay. No public hearing. How about an ordinance? We have our first ordinance tonight, changing the boundaries of the zoning district and amending the zoning map as of 3826. This pertains to 217 South C.
Mr. Jones will address this, I believe.
Okay?
Subject property at 217 South C currently has 2 different zonings. The north half of the lot is C2 general commercial. The south half is R2 two-family residential. On the north half, there's storage units. South half is vacant. The owner requests that a zoning amendment be made to cover the entire property with general commercial C2 zoning. Went before the Planning Commission April 25th and received a unanimous vote for approval. Staff agrees with that recommendation. With the property, it's kind of right on the boundary between downtown commercial district and residential. Around there, we don't see that with existing commercial on site that this would be any problem.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I move we change the zoning.
A second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve this ordinance changing the boundaries of the zoning district and amending the zoning as adopted by the ordinance 3826 at 217 South C. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Etter,
Yes.
Mrs. Hawley,
Yes.
Mrs. Cordy,
Yes.
Mr. Butts,
Yes.
Mr. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Wetta,
Yes.
and Mayor Hansel, I need you to vote on this.
Yes, absolutely.
That is 7 affirmative votes for ordinance 4207.
All right, moving on, we do have a resolution this evening. This is a resolution determining the advisability of the making of certain internal improvements in the city of Wellington, Kansas, making certain findings with respect thereto, and authorizing and providing for the making of the improvements in accordance with such findings. This is about the street improvements at Westboro. This is basically accepting the petition. Is that right, Mr. Shields?
You've already accepted the petition. This is actually the resolution authorizing the project. This would provide that we would proceed with the design of the project to obtain a definite, be able to bid the project out and obtain a more official cost. This was, as tabled from last meeting, discussed further at a work session on May 11th, and the consensus was to bring it back to the council.
Do we have to take it off the table first?
They moved off the table, put it on the agenda. They tabled it 2 weeks ago.
The attorney says yes, most likely.
I move we take it off the table.
I'll second that.
All right, it is moved and seconded that we take this resolution off the table and ready to take action. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
Okay. Motion carried. You don't need a count on that, do you? We're good? Okay. Okay, good deal. All right, so now, do I have a motion on the resolution to determine the advisability of the Westboro project?
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
I would like to make a motion that we accept the resolution as it is written regarding the streets in Westboro project.
All right, do I have a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution determining the advisability of this Westboro project. Yes, Mr. Eder?
I'm assuming we can have discussion.
Absolutely, pertaining to the subject.
Correct. There was a lot of conversation that was had about this during the work session. That some individuals aren't, privy to be able to see the work session and/or maybe are not going to tune into this. I've had some people contact me. I've had a lot of activity on this. I'm going to vote no for this, not because I'm not for fixing the streets out there. I'm absolutely for fixing the streets out there. I've been very vocal about fixing the streets out there. I think it's a very, very good thing to fix those streets. The issue that I have is that in doing it in the manner in which the motion's been made, we're not going to be addressing the curbs and gutters. Mr. Jones, our Director of Public Works, has said that he absolutely does not think that that's a smart move, that it will give us a premature life on the roads. It will also increase the amount of work that he's going to, or his department's going to have to put out there, and if he doesn't, then it will therefore fast forward that process. We also, this council approved for a road consulting group to come in, and the individual that came out and did that said the exact same thing, said you absolutely need to put curbs and gutters in. The difference is just shy of $300,000. It's very difficult for me to sit here and see us spend $1 million or even $1.3 million on roads and curbs and gutters, or not curbs and gutters, and not do it correctly the first time. That's why we're sitting where we are right here. The issue with standing water is what causes premature road failure. And if I'm wrong, Jeremy, in any of this, please correct me. But we're also dealing with an additional issue out there is that a larger than normal percentage of the homes out there also have sprinkler systems. So therefore, those sprinkler systems create artificial water when we wouldn't have water as well. So it's very disheartening for me to know that there's individuals that will vote yes on this spending $1 million of taxpayers' money, knowing full well that we're not spending it with the curbs and gutters, which is what every person that has anything to do with roads has said is essential with regards to this. Regardless of whether it's going to tear up the individual's yards out there or not, this is about what's right for the city as a whole, and we need to do what's right with the city as a whole if we're going to be spending this kind of dollars.
All right, thank you, Mr. Eder. Anybody else? Discussion on this topic? All right. Madam Clerk, I need a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Valentine?
No.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Eder?
No.
Mrs. Hawley?
No.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
And we do have a tie, 3 yes and 3 no. We need the mayor to vote or abstain.
I vote yes.
That does pass as resolution 5817.
All right. Next resolution we have is a resolution approving and accepting a bid and authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order with Hodges Farm and Dredging, LLC of Lebo, Kansas for cleaning of the North Lagoon at the water production plant to remove lime sludge in the amount of $94,000 $400. Oh, Mr. Shields, do tell.
Mayor, this is a project that was budgeted for this year, involving the water plant, and Mr. Newberry can provide details.
This is simply cleaning the lagoons out on the east side of the road across the street from water production. Those lagoons are used for lime slurry that we use in the process of making water. So they did both the lagoons back in 2011, and at that time it was kind of determined that it might work best to do one at a time. That way it doesn't hamper the water production process. So we got very competitive bids. We sent out to 3 different people. We were pleasantly surprised with some of the bids that came in. As Mr. Shields said, it is budgeted money, and we'll make the motion to move forward on it, the recommendation to move forward.
Yes, Mr. Lutz?
Jason, what kind of equipment do they use?
This is going to be a little different process than was the last time. Last time they ran into some issues, so they actually are. It's a dredge that's basically going to go on the bottom and dredge it out. It's actually going to be pretty interesting to see how it works. So yeah, we're kind of intrigued also.
Okay, Mr. Ender?
What was the budgeted amount?
100,000. So.
Oh, wow.
Half of it?
Sweet.
Yes, Mr. Letta?
So what do we do with it?
The last time it was done, they made arrangements with local farmers to go around and spray it.
Go ahead.
I contacted Mike tonight, and I didn't get a reply back if he heard what they were going to plan on doing with it. This is actually a farm that also does dredging on the side. They're a dredging company, but they also have a farm, so they may have use for that product. So it may be going elsewhere besides local farms, but I'm sure it will be put to its good use.
Well, and it's not a concern, it's just, there's times that you shouldn't put this on.
Absolutely.
And we didn't do a very good job the last time. I got a lot of flack.
Right.
So,
And there were some issues last time with, I think, some of the way it was delivered down the road, so hopefully we can improve that.
Yes. Smart deployment of sludge,
Correct.
please. All right, anybody else have any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
To?
Move forward with the bid.
Okay.
I second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution accepting and approving bids for the city manager to execute with Nebo. Madam Clerk, could you please do a roll call vote?
Mrs. Holly?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
yes.
And Mr. Eder?
Yes.
6 affirmative for Resolution 5818.
Just a quick follow-up. I should have asked it after Kim said something, but is there a reason that the bid came in so low?
It's just hungry for work right now. I don't know
Oh,
what the indication was. We don't know exactly, but that's kind of the indication.
great.
Another
Yes.
point that was with making bidders. The other 2 bids were way higher than this one that we accepted, so. This is the type of thing that makes me nervous when you see those bids that are so different.
All the others, I mean, we had that same question, that was my initial question, but again, remembering this is the company that did it before.
Yeah, I
So they
realize.
may very well know details, and I mean, although one of the other companies came and inspected, so they were on site, but still.
Okay.
But you've had experience with this company, so you.
Yes, Mr.
How long ago did they do the first
I
job?
think it was 11, 2011.
So how long, I mean, is that the first time that they've been done since that production?
I don't know that I can answer that. I know we're trying to get it on rotation of every 5 years doing one, so well ahead of the curve.
Would it be beneficial that once they finish this one, to have them do the other one since the bid was so low?
I don't think so. We rotate between the two, so we're thinking that the sludge isn't as big a deal in the other pond, so that we're dealing with one that it is, and we rotate between the two.
Okay, very good. All right, our next resolution is a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign work order number 17-02, an agreement for engineering services with professional engineering consultants PEC of Wichita for design services and supplemental services to update an emergency action plan for the Hargis Creek Dam for a lump sum of $10,500.
This is for the Hargis Watershed Dam. The EAP is required by the state. Not a whole lot of other details other than that. Certainly Director Jones can address any questions you may have, but it is required inspections.
All dams of this nature have a hazard class attached to them. Hargis is a Class C hazard, therefore we need to meet those requirements. We do currently have a 6-page emergency action plan that apparently is not sufficient. We received a letter last year. In researching, it appears that this has been an issue or a concern for a few years. Looks like over the last decade, on at least 2 occasions, we've tried to do this work in-house, only to basically get the simple parts of the 40-page template completed and all the technical data. We're just not equipped, staffing or software-wise, to complete. So that's where we're enlisting the assistance of PEC to do this plan for us. That would get us into compliance with state and federal regulations. Simply, it doesn't mean that the dam has any damage or that it is actually a hazard. It's just that it holds back a considerable amount of water. They want a plan that everybody can revert to in case there is a breach. There's a lot of people downstream. We need to know who those people are, what areas are going to be affected, and how we go about the most efficient plan to deal with the situation if it should arise.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jeremy. Yes, Mr. Wetta?
$10,000 seems like a lot of money to do a little bit of paperwork. And as much money, as much business as we give them, $10,000 doesn't look like a very good deal. And they probably got set prices for everything. You could do it if you had the time to sit down and do it, but they,
Well,
I'm not sure we have the expertise, the hydrologists, and there's a lot that goes into it. The instructions for this is 36 pages of all of these things that we have to do. And we really don't have what it takes to do that type of plan. The emergency procedures, we could come up with a lot of that, contracting downstream stakeholders, inundation maps, doing all of the hydrology of this thing is knowing how much water might come through this, worst case scenario, and where that's going to spread, and how quickly it's going to be done. We don't have any of that ability to do, and that's the issue from previous attempts. Is it's way above what we're training for. Unfortunately, I mean it is a lot of money, but engineering services are.
thank you.
yeah. For all of us, we should encourage our children to go into the engineering business ASAP. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Madam Mayor, I move we approve this expenditure.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve a resolution authorizing our city manager to sign work order number 17-02 for PEC to design services and supplemental to update our emergency action plan for Harvest Creek Dam. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Porty?
Yes.
6 affirmative votes for Resolution 5819.
All right, that is all we have on the agenda. However, we do have our executive session, so.
Madam Mayor, I move we recess into executive session for preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real estate to include the city mayor, the council, the city clerk, and the city attorney for a period of, pardon me?
City manager.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we do want the mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Please stay.
Okay. I will.
I would say until 7, by the time we clear the room, 7:15.
Okay. to reconvene at 7:15.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Opposed, no. All right, we will be.